Hi guys, it's me, Mrs. Lossing. On Fridays, I am going to be posting a read aloud of a book that we have had in our classroom that we would normally read in our classroom. And today I'm going to be reading Esquivel, the Space-Aged Sound Artist. It's about a man named Esquivel. Well, actually, his name was Juan Esquivel. He was born in the 1930s in Mexico and was famous for different types of lounge music in Mexico and United States between the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and then saw his music have a revival in the late 90s. So I'm going to read the story about his beginning. Okay, this is Esquivel, Space Age Sound Artist, written by Susan Wood and illustrated by Duncan Tonatua. When Juan Garcia Esquivel was a small boy, he lived with his family in Tampico, Mexico, where whirling mariachi bands let out joyful yells as they stamped and strummed. By age 6, Juan was curious about music. There was a piano at Juan's house, but it was a player piano. A paper roll told it which keys to play. Clever Juan had an idea. He disabled the paper roll and turned his parents' jangly piano into one he could practice on. He played it night and day. And by age 10, Juan was captivated by music. He loved to play piano anytime, anywhere. Sometimes he disappeared from home in search of an audience, and his family would have to go looking for him. They always found him in front of a piano. When Juan's family moved to Mexico City, the country's bustling capital, Juan found work playing piano at Mexico's first 24-hour radio station. He performed for 15 minutes each day and was paid 2 pesos a show, enough to buy a sandwich and a taxi ride home. He was just 14 years old. Ron started learning all he could on his own, no music teachers, lessons, or schools. Without traditional training in how musical notes went together, Juan focused instead on how sounds could be arranged. Finally, Juan felt ready to create his own music. So when, at age 17, he was offered the job of an orchestra leader for a popular comedy show at the radio station, Juan gladly took it. When the radio comedian needed music for a skit about, say, a stout man walking his tiny poodle down a busy city street, Juan had to imagine what that might sound like. Juan might ask the kettle drum to boom, 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 boom with a lumbering giant, or like a lumbering giant. He might ask the clarinet cymbal oboes to yip and yap, like a dainty dog. He might tell the trumpets and trombones to honk, blap, and bleep, like a blaring car horn. Juan tested and mixed and blended and arranged all sorts of sounds to match the imaginary situation. He was an artist, using dips and dabs of color to create a vivid landscape, but instead of paint, Juan used sound. Weird and wild sounds, strange and exciting sounds. Juan started experimenting with popular Mexican tunes. He tinkered with tempos, slowing songs down, then revving them up. He fiddled with dynamics, swapping soothing soft sounds and startling loud sounds. He twisted chords and combined instruments to sound thrilling, dreamy, and often funny, because Juan liked music that made people laugh. But underneath the humor, it took great musical skill to play Juan's challenging new music. Nobody had ever heard music like Juan's before. Soon, he was winning awards, and his songs were turned into records that people could buy in stores. Juan's innovative music could be heard on radios and record players all across Mexico. An important record company in the United States heard about Juan and his unusual music. Would he come to make records in America? Yes, yes, yes! Si, si, si! Juan packed 2 suits. He bought a big red convertible sports car with a white top, and then he drove all the way to New York City. There, Juan found a music shop the size of a department store with 3 entire floors full of strange and exotic instruments. He saw a bamba tubes that can play a tune, a spooky-sounding electric instrument called a theremin, a bazimba, a kazoo-sounding contraption played with a mallet, the onodaline, an organ with a swaying keyboard, and even a giant gong. So many odd, new sounds to play with. Juan was in heaven. The late 1950s and early 1960s was a great time to be recording music. Scientists had discovered a new process called stereophonics, or stereo for short. It separated sounds, so when you listened to a recording, music could seem to come from the left side, the right side, or both sides at once. For a sound artist, Juan, stereo was yet another exciting color for his musical palette. To make a good stereo recording, instruments needed to be kept apart while they were recording. That way, the brap of the horns wouldn't get mixed in with the weedy wheel of the flutes. Most conductors used curtains or screens or special booths to separate the instruments. That wasn't enough for Juan. Once he put half his orchestra in one recording studio and the other half in another recording studio on the other side of the building. So far, it felt like they were on an entire city block away. The musicians wore earphones so they could hear what the other were playing. And so that everyone could see him, Juan conducted on a closed-circuit TV, television only the musicians could view. Juan had one more sonic trick up his sleeve. He brought in singers. But the singers didn't sing words, they sang sounds. They'd sing zoo 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 and do pow. Pa ba 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 roo roo roo. On Juan's quirky versions of popular songs, he replaced the lyrics everyone knew with the singer's fun, flashy sounds. Loo loo loo, ra 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 ree. People loved Juan's color for music. It took them to other worlds, other planets. It sounded like a crazy rocket zigzagging through outer space. When Juan wasn't making his unique music, he enjoyed many things. He liked beautiful art, fancy cars, and elegant clothes. He especially liked pretty women, but Juan loved music most. Juan made many records and played hundreds of concerts with his orchestra. In Las Vegas, Juan and his musicians performed at the Stardust Hotel for 14 years in a row. Fans from near and far, including famous singers, actors, and actresses, would come to hear his out-of-this-world sounds. Juan also made music for dozens of movies and television programs, even a TV show especially for children. Now, Juan wasn't called Juan anymore. He explored sonic frontiers, expanding musical possibilities, and enhanced the way people think about, listen to, and enjoy music. Now, Juan was the space-age sound artist simply known as Esquivel, with an exclamation point. Just like the title. Well, that's the book. I hope that you enjoyed learning about Juan Garcia Esquivel as much as I did. I did not know anything about him until I picked this book up earlier to read it, and he seems like a really fascinating person who looked at music in a brand new way, which is pretty cool. After reading the book, I wanted to know what his music sounded like, so I did go on YouTube and look it up, and it's some pretty cool stuff where you can actually picture in your head like a movie type image in your mind, kind of like how we ask you to like make a movie in your mind with books. You can do that with his music. So I'm going to attach a link to the post that I did of this video so that you can hear what it sounds like, and with your parents' permission, if you want to look at other things that he did, you can as well. Parents' permission, of course. Also at the very end of the video, I took like a picture of about him kind of thing that's, not part of the story, but what the author found out. So if you want to read that, just pause the video at the end and you can see more information about him there. Also on the post, you should be able to leave comments under it, so I'd love to see what you guys think about this video or about him. And then I will see you next week right here with another book. See you later. Miss you guys. Bye. Stay safe.